We're going to give everyone a few minutes to get here, but I just wanted to go ahead and sign early to make sure that everything was working. Now, when you log into the class, I am not going to be able to see if you type anything into the screen. So by all means, please, type in, say hello, say you're here. If you're watching on the replay, type in replay so that I know how you are reaching this video. And let's see. Here's the comments. I also wanted to say before I get started that even though this is a live for New Year's Day, this video is going to be posted. It's going to be on my Facebook page for a while. And, it's good for any time you want to start with fresh energy, start something new, or even just refresh. So I invite you to, come back to this video and, use it as a way for your own wellness, for your own well-being, to help you reset yourself. And just a few things before class does start. You may want to block. If you don't have a block, a book works really well. You may want a blanket. If you don't have a yoga blanket, any blanket will do, or a towel. If you don't have a yoga mat, that's okay. That's not really what it's about. Just find a quiet, comfortable spot where you can have your own practice and hopefully be undisturbed. I have small children myself, so I know that sometimes that may not seem possible, but just do the best that you can. And if it doesn't work out, don't get too committed to having that silence, because if you are in that season of your life where you have little people around you, it's just not always realistic to always have a quiet moment to practice. And being able to still practice yoga even while you have life going around you is just as important as finding stillness and quiet. Hopefully everybody can hear me. And I apologize for any awkward background noise. My little people are already waking up. And I did just want to reflect before we get started. This is 2022. It's a new year. We have new energy. And sometimes, we all start with those New Year's resolutions and things that we're going to do differently. And I invite you to relax and sit with that. And instead of thinking back on last year and what you didn't accomplish or what went wrong, I invite you to look back and think about what went right. What things did you accomplish? What things did you do that just really filled your soul or went really well? Even small things, even if it was just one day out of the whole year that went well. Don't think about what you don't want, think about what you do want. It's one of the #1 rules in manifesting, is to think about what you want. So if you think about the things that went right, it invites 2022 to have more things go right for you. And I also do want to briefly talk about how, even though this is a new year, this is still winter. Winter is a time to slow down, to hibernate, to rest. and, to kind of restore ourselves. So if your New Year's resolution is to start going to the gym every day, that might not be a reflection of what's realistic based on the time that we're in the year. So if being healthier and fitter is a goal for you, and that's something that you want to start and accomplish in this new year, you might want to reword it as, I will go to the gym 50% more than I currently am. And then the next month, 50% more, so that you build on it instead of just jumping in and then, losing pep 2 months into it and falling off the horse altogether. If you slowly build yourself up to it, you may find more long-term success. And then too, that will help, the season change, the energies change, and it'll help bring more of what you want into your life instead of just going off the deep end, so to speak, and then, losing your hook and finding yourself stranded on the beach somewhere. And these are just some questions that I'm going to ask you. You don't have to answer them. It's completely optional, completely up to you. A lot of you who are part of my audience do journaling. So if that's going to be a part of your practice for today, it's going to be a part of mine. There are some journaling questions that I wanted to offer you. How was last year in healing for you? What freedoms do I feel now that I've let some things go? The end of the year is a great time to let go of the things that no longer serve us. I know the last couple days I've been in, deep clean mode, throwing out, organizing, bringing things, donating them, getting rid of garbage, going through my kids' toys, pulling out all the broken things, right? Just getting rid of the things that are cluttering my energy and my space. What choices did you make in 2021 that honored your true self? A lot of us make our choices based on what people are going to think of us and not based on what we actually want. What bad habits did you overcome? I recently saw a post, one of my friends is a nail biter, and I am too. And just like her, I have been successful for the last 5 weeks, 6 weeks. I have not bitten my nails, picked my nails at all. And that's really big for me. Of course, nail biting tends to be stress induced. It's probably not easy to see from here, but I'm actually a highly anxious person. It's something I'm working on. And so nail biting is one of the ways that I manage my stress. And then, the last question is, how far have I come with, and fill in the blank? What project or goal or thing are you working on that, you've been working on for the past year, and how far did you come with it? Were you planning on, getting your master's degree and then you still haven't even filled out your FAFSA? Or, did you plan on getting certified in something and you were successful and now you're doing what you love to do? Or did you want to learn to cook? Or did you want to learn to knit? Or, fill in the blank. Is there something that you've been working on that you've made progress in? So I am going to start off this yoga practice with a short meditation to help you set your intentions for this new year. Of course, setting intentions, you could set an intention and, things could completely change, or you could set an intention and it could work out, or you could set an intention and then forget about it and have it not come to pass. So I do invite that if you do set an intention, to write it down somewhere, go back to it, reflect on it, remind yourself of your goal. And, you know, that intention doesn't have to be new. It could be something that you want to resurrect from last year or previous years. Maybe, you know, last year or before wasn't the right time for that manifestation, for that new thing to come into your life. Maybe now is the time. So I ask you to get yourself into a comfortable seat, a comfortable position. You know, put your intention in mind. Take a deep breath. Put your hands on your heart and on your belly. Go ahead and take a deep breath right in through your nose and out. And I invite you to take 10 nourishing breaths here at your own pace. And as you begin to breathe, you know, direct your attention to where you would like this breath to go. Are you working on bringing more love into your life this year, or self-love or self-care? Send that nourishing breath to your heart space. Or do you want to work on, you know, activities of the mental capacity? Are you going back to school? Do you want to learn something new? You can send that breath, you know, to your head space, to your third eye chakra area. And now I invite you to draw your attention to the center of your head. Imagine going deep into the center of your consciousness, right at about eye level. And anytime your mind wanders, that's okay, that's life, that's human. But bring yourself back to this spot. And as you continue to breathe, I want you to recall last year. Is there anything that you wish to release? And if so, imagine that what you're releasing, that energy or memory or regret, comes together in a ball of light, and it'll be floating in front of you. And this can happen at its own pace. What color is that energy? Don't assign it a color. Just look at it, recognize it, acknowledge it. Still breathing. It's time to release that ball of energy. Maybe it floats off into the sun to be burned up by the rays, or maybe it's taken away by an angel or a guide or a loved one coming down and just taking it away. Maybe it explodes. Maybe it just poofs, disappears. But as you watch this energy leave, how does it make you feel? Do you feel more open? Do you feel relief? Do you feel like your consciousness has expanded in some way? And now that we've removed that old energy, you know, you're going to have areas in your energy, in your aura, that had that old energy in it that need to be filled. So consider a new intention that you would like to set, one that's new or one that you are going to renew or rebirth. You can, of course, write it down in a journal now if you really need to, if you are concerned you won't remember at the conclusion of our practice, or just hold it in your mind's eye, knowing that you can put the pen to paper at the conclusion of our practice. If you're alone, perhaps you would like to speak your intention aloud. And if this new intention were a ball of energy, of light, of color, what color do you think it would be? Would it be a warm color? Would it be a cool color? Now I invite you to imagine a beautiful funnel over your head. This golden funnel simply floats above your head and invites only the best, most beautiful energy into your body. The energy that's good for your highest good, for your highest self. At this time, imagine that funnel draws the energy of your intention into your body, filling up all the empty spaces where the old energy from last year resided. If you feel a physical sensation like tingling or twitching, that's okay, that's normal. It just means that your body is responding to your new energy, to the shift in the energy around you. When it feels as if this energy has filled your body, take a moment to close off your funnel, knowing you can reopen it at any time to invite the energy for your highest and best self into you. And now I invite you to take another 10 nourishing breaths at your own pace and sit for a moment. And as you're sitting there completing your breaths, I just wanted to remind you some things about Yin Yoga in case this is your first time practicing. In Yin Yoga, we will slowly flow from pose to pose. The goal of Yin is to find the edge of the pose where you feel a sensation, but not pain, and then be able to hold it. And we will be holding these poses upwards 3 to 5 minutes, depending on the pose. Some poses are easier to hold for longer periods of time, and I will utilize those poses in that way. Some poses are harder to hold and may only be held for 2 minutes or 3 minutes. This particular sequence is geared towards having a sense of being instead of doing. As we are still in winter, I invite you to reflect on that energy and realize you don't have to do everything all at once. It's okay to slow down. It's okay to rest. When you're ready, we are going to stand. Go ahead and put your feet about hip width apart. If you're a little cold, make sure you're comfortable. It's very cold in my yoga space today. I'm wearing a sweater. And we're just going to start by slowly twisting to the right. You can lift your left foot up, turn your head, find your balance. Don't overstretch. In Yin, you should never be in pain. Again, you should bring yourself to the edge, find that sensation. Find where you're going to have a passive stretch. The passive stretch will help you release the feel-good hormones and the hormones involved in your body's healing, joint repair. It'll help your bones. But if you are ever in a position where maybe we're seated and your ankle bone falls on the floor in an uncomfortable manner, we always want to adjust to be as comfortable as possible. Remember to breathe while you're in these poses. In every type of yoga, breathing is at the core of what we're doing. Being with the breath, feeling the breath as it goes in and out of your lungs, of your whole body, of your energy. And we don't want to just take shallow breaths. We want to fully inhale, feel that air, that oxygen going into our entire being, and then fully exhaling. When you're ready, we're going to slowly come back to center. For this next pose, if you have a blanket, go ahead and grab it. If not, that's okay, it's not necessary. And we are just going to fall forward. And really the blanket is to just help with your comfort, but also engage those muscles just a little bit. This is also referred to as Ragdoll Pose and other types of yoga. And don't get too attached. If you can't reach your toes right now, believe me, I can't either. You know, yoga is not about getting into the pose perfectly. It's about the journey you take to get there, knowing you may never get there. So just, you know, do the best that you can. If you feel the blood rushing to your head and you need to lift your head up a little bit, I understand. I'm in that same position myself. Winter can do that. Doing too much this time of year can drain you and make your body weaker and more susceptible to illness. So just do the best that you can. Make sure too that you have a slight bend in your knee. Otherwise, you may hyperextend yourself or hurt your back. If the bolster or blanket is too much, you can just go ahead and let your arms dangle. Go into full ragdoll. Remember to breathe. Always with the breath. Allow yourself to just be. And as you feel your legs starting to shake, just know that, you know, that's part of the process. That's part of what staying in the pose looks like, right? So just because you're starting to feel it a little bit, you don't want to give up, because that's where the magic happens. When you just stay in that pose, just that another minute, just that little bit longer. And when you're ready, slowly bring yourself up. Take a deep breath. Take another one if you need it. And we're going to slowly twist to the other side. Find a gentle gaze or close your eyes. If you can close your eyes while you're standing and not lose your balance. When you're ready, you slowly untwist. Bring yourself back to center. And we're going to go ahead and grab our blocks. We're going to get into Garland Pose. Now with your block, depending on what you're comfortable with, will define how you sit on your block. So we're going to go into a supported Garland Pose. So you can lay your block flat so that you're sitting on the broad part of your book or block if you have an actual block. Or, you know, if you have a narrower book or narrower block, you can flip it this way and sit on the top portion, or you can turn it so it's the vertical way and sit on the very topmost portion, depending on, you know, where you are and where your comfort level is and what type of support you feel you need. I'm going to go ahead and lay mine down so that I'm sitting on the broad side. And you want the block to be right under your hips if possible, so that you are fully supported. You can go ahead and put your hands in prayer position. You bring them as close to your heart space as is comfortable for you. You know, all of our bodies are a little different. So if what you're doing looks a little different than what I'm doing, that's okay. Recognize that that's where you are right now, and that's okay. That's part of your journey. Remember to take good healing breaths in and out. When you're ready, you can slowly bring your arms down. Remove the block. We're going to go into Child's Pose. And with Child's Pose, you have two options. You can keep your legs directly under you and go over the tops of your thighs. Or you can spread your thighs wide, keeping your big toes together. And then bring yourself out. Now, if you're pregnant, you are going to want to take the wide child. But if you are not, it is perfectly safe to take whichever variation of child feels the best for you. And then you're welcome to lay your block under your forehead or stack your arms like this so that your head is resting on your palm, on your fist. And when you're in child, just go ahead and find the area that's comfortable for you. Go ahead and stretch your arms out, get that good shoulder stretch in, and then find rest, find your balance. In most practices of yoga, I can't say all, in most practices of yoga, if you're going through a series of poses and find yourself where you can't continue. Usually child's pose is an acceptable go-to pose to recognize that you're just not in a place where you can do everything that's being asked of you at the moment. It's definitely one of my favorite poses. Number 3. When you're ready, go ahead, fold up, and we're going to come down onto our bellies. We're going to go into Sphinx pose. Sphinx pose, you lay on your belly, put your elbows and arm and hand on the ground. And rest your gaze down slowly. Remembering to breathe. If it feels a little too intense for your back, you can lower yourself just a little bit, being gentle with yourself, almost like a little baby Sphinx pose. Remembering to breathe. When we're ready, we're going to come up to a seated position. I'm going to a straddle. So you're going to go ahead and put your arms behind you, like this. And go ahead and just shift to one leg or the other. I'm starting on my right. You can start on your left or your right, whichever is more comfortable for you. As you can see, I'm definitely not flexible right now. We were in Disney, and after all that walking for 6 days, my legs are definitely not as limber as they once were. Remember to breathe. If you feel like you need to hold on to your leg, if having your arms behind you doesn't work, that's okay. Just remember to breathe slowly. Be present in the moment. And you've chosen this moment, whether it's live at 8 a.m. or at any point you've chosen to rewatch this video, to set time aside for yourself, for your practice, for your well-being, for your self-care. And when you're ready, come to center. We're going to put our legs together, and we're going to do caterpillar pose. In caterpillar pose, you're going to have a slight bend to your knee, and you're going to fold over your legs. You can wrap your legs underneath or just lay your arms on top. It's almost like you're giving yourself a hug. And it's okay to not have your back straight in this pose. Ideally, you want to have a slight roundness to your back in caterpillar pose. Remembering to breathe. And when you're ready, go ahead, roll yourself back up, go back into your straddle. And we're going to fold over the other side. So you can go ahead and interlock your hands behind your back like this. Hold them out behind you, or you can fold over onto your leg, holding your leg. I apologize for the screaming small children that you can possibly hear in the background. I was hoping that 8 o'clock on New Year's Day would be early enough for nobody else to be awake, but I guess I was wrong. Remember to breathe, take in your deep breaths. Use your breath to exhale any stagnant energy you're still holding on to. Any negative replaying tapes in your head. Choose it to get rid of it. Out with the old, in with the new 2022. So I was looking back on Facebook, and a year ago yesterday, I posted my very first online yoga video. And it was very interesting for me to see the progress of where I was and where I am at now. When you're ready, you can go ahead and work your way back up. We're going to bring our legs together again. We're not going to do caterpillar this time, but we are going to work out some kinks and just do some windshield wipers. So if you're feeling like your legs are really tense from being in that straddle pose, from folding over one leg or the other, doing windshield wipers can help work out the kinks, especially in your hips. When you're ready, we're going to go into a mermaid side stretch. You can go ahead and wrap both legs to the left. Put your left arm under your outer leg. Raise your right arm and reach over. And feel that stretch, that passive stretch right in your side body. When you're in your pose, at some point, if you feel like you're falling into the pose more, like your body is releasing in a good way, where you're stretching out more, don't be afraid to go into that pose just a little more deeply to continue feeling that sensation. Sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't, and that's okay. We don't want you to be attached to the outcome. Just know that it's possible for that to happen. And as your arm starts to tire, just hang in there a little bit longer. We've almost made our 2 minutes. Just take a deep breath. Breathe into the discomfort. And remember, there's a little difference between discomfort, where you're feeling a sensation, or maybe it's getting a little uncomfortable, versus straight out, this hurts. We definitely want to encourage you to try to sit with that discomfort a little bit, because that's where growth happens. That's, how you improve that flexibility or strength in that area. And go ahead and release. Go ahead and just do a mild counter twist into the other direction. We're not going to do the full 2 minutes, just for a moment. And we're going to take a few deep breaths here. And when you're ready, we are going to switch our legs to the other side. Go ahead and tuck both legs up under that right side. Take your right arm, hold on to your outer leg. Take your left arm and reach over. Remember, we want to feel the stretch right in the side body. Remember to breathe. Full deep breaths. In through the nose, out through the mouth. You can even sigh it out if you want to help release some of that extra energy or extra tension. And as you feel your arms start to tire, just hang in there. And when you're ready, you can slowly bring your arm down. We're going to make our way onto our backs. And we're going to start off by doing a half happy baby. You can go ahead and lay out your right leg. And we're going to bring up our left. And when you're doing happy baby, you want to try to bring your knee to your shoulder, really, and then extend your leg up to the inside of your foot. And this may be, maybe you can't reach your foot, that's okay. Just do the best that you can. We're going to do one leg at a time. Taking in full deep breaths. And just hang in there. Do the best that you can. Again, if you need to grab an ankle instead of your foot, that's okay. And go ahead and release your leg down. Straighten it out. We're going to go ahead and do the other side. Bringing your knee towards your shoulder, out. And again, if you can't reach the inside of your foot, that's okay. You can grab your ankle. You may notice that one side is different than the other side. That's perfectly normal. We're not always the same on both sides of our body. Remember to breathe.
When you're ready, you go ahead and bring your other leg up, and we're going to do full happy baby pose. You can even rock your baby a little bit. It can be very beneficial for the back, for the lower back, the upper back, the spinal area. Or you can just be still. Again, if you can't reach your feet, that's okay. You can do your ankles, your calf, wherever it is that you are today is perfect. So we're going to stay here another minute. Just continue to breathe. Continue to be in the moment. When you're ready, you can slowly relax your legs down. Now, if you have a blanket, go ahead and rest that blanket under your knees. We're going to go ahead into supported butterfly on our backs. We'll put your feet together. I'm putting my blanket under one knee and my block under the other because my blanket isn't quite long enough and I don't have a bolster. If you have a bolster, you can use that. And just let the ground support you, let your props support you. Rest your hands on your belly, on your heart space if you want. Feel your breath as your stomach rises and lowers with the breath. Just feel and acknowledge that. We're going to hold this pose for another 2 minutes. As we start to wind down, you can go ahead and remove your props and work your way into the final resting place for Shavasana. And straighten your arms, straighten your legs, close your eyes. Stop breathing so deeply. Be a little less conscious of the breath as you drift into the yogic rest. When you're ready, start wiggling your toes, your fingers. Keep your eyes closed. Just slowly start to come back into your body. Be gentle with yourself as you start to come back to the now. And when you're ready, you can go ahead and turn on to your right side, still keeping your eyes closed. And just rest there for a moment. And when you're ready, go ahead and come to a seated position at the front of your mat. You can sit in easy pose or any pose that's comfortable for you. If lotus pose is within your practice, you may take lotus or half lotus. When you're ready, go ahead and open your eyes. And take a deep, deep inhale and sigh it out on the exhale. And one more deep, deep inhale. And sigh it out on the exhale. I want to thank everyone for joining me, whether you joined me live or if you're watching this afterwards, or if you're watching this in the middle of March, or maybe even at the end of the year. Whenever this video finds you, I just want to thank you for practicing with me and for taking this time to be with yourself and to slow down and take a pause and take a moment.